I'm expecting good potential in this career.
His mother is a teacher and father.
Good afternoon, may I come in?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Bhavika.
Good afternoon, sir, yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please take a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Bhavika, we are very impressed with your height.
Thank you,
Kitni
sir.
height है आपकी?
So 179 centimeters on a bad day, 180 on a good day.
All right, okay, whatever. In terms of feet and inches?
So close to 5 feet 10 inches.
Wonderful. Very good. You never thought of participating in these beauty contests
So
or personality contests?
not really, sir. My interest lay somewhere else. I was what you'd classify a nerd as.
We are very impressed with your DAF also. You
you,
had
sir.
done your class 12 from Carmel Convent and that to 97.4%.
Yes, sir.
Thereafter you did your BAs, that too from Stephen and in economics. Very difficult and very difficult to get into this kind of a stream and in this institution. Thereafter you worked as an advanced tax analyst. What was your role job like in
So-
Ernst & Young?
I primarily was filing taxes for clients in the US who were high net worth individuals, sir.
All right. So any learning from that job?
So primarily personal growth and an insight into the Indian and the US taxation system and differences that the two regimes have.
But a lot of people who work in US, they face a lot of problems on taxation. So can we do something about it?
So in the US, taxation is automated in the sense there are a lot of softwares which we used, which is not the case in India. Perhaps in the US, what can be done for Indian people is that the double taxation agreement, there can be a little more literacy around that.
Absolutely. So why are we not going ahead with that?
So as far as my knowledge goes, the double taxation agreement that exists between the two countries is something that a lot of people use, but more efforts could be made by the relevant authorities.
All right. Now you are in the postal services,
Yes, sir.
and with which you joined in 24. तो अभी कितने 5-6 महीने हो गए हैं वहाँ पे?
Sir, I took an extraordinary
All right.
year.
So you are
of
not
leave.
joined as yet.
I started training last week, sir, Monday
All
onwards.
right. Okay. So how are you finding Department of Post?
So it's a sunrise sector, in my opinion. Obviously, the way we change has the way we communicate has changed, but the postal sector is reinventing itself in the fields of e-commerce at
But
this
why
time.
do you need e-commerce in the government sector? The private sector are doing wonderfully well. There are a large number of such platforms.
So I completely agree with that, and private players do make up a significant market share at this point of time. However, having an affordable government option increases the market competition, because if postal service is reliable, then people will want to rely on India Post rather than these private players.
No, but ultimately you are a student of economics.
Yes, sir.
Let the market forces operate. Let there be a large number of players. Where is the need for government to enter into a commercial business?
Sir, I absolutely agree, but proper asset management and the kind of outreach that the postal network has, this is something that we can also
But people can make use of CSEs, Common Service Center. We have got about 5 lakhs Common Service Center, and all these centers are nothing but can deliver all kinds of commercial services as well.
Absolutely, sir. And the postal network also serves as
CSE kind of
CSE,
thing.
yes, sir.
So now, don't you think that these services were started way back when there was no other mechanism to deliver letters, parcels and things like that? Now, after so many years, we have come to a stage when these are not required. Why should we have this kind of a baggage? And let us monetize whatever is available under the postal services or the postal ecosystem.
So I do agree, but I would still like to reiterate the fact that private companies will only market skim, but the postal service will provide a universal service obligation which it has and work with the bottom-up approach. That is what differentiates us from most private players.
All right, Bhavika. So you get posted to a district as district magistrate and collector, and you have done something for students, na?
Yes, sir. Yes. I taught at an NGO.
And you have been asked, or because of your own initiative, you want to improve the quality of children, especially those who belong to the disadvantaged section, maybe orphan, abandoned, and very poor children, what will you do? What will be your action plan, which is doable?
So first, I would like to identify the issues related to why people are not attending school, because education in itself takes a whole demand and supply situation. There needs to be an adequate supply of teachers as well as adequate demand from the
But
students.
you have done something, though. What is your assessment? Why children, especially children from poor families, they are not attending in a meaningful manner? Why?
So the problem that I particularly faced had to do with dropouts after 8th grade, because it was primarily an NGO for girl children, and they believed that their girls had better chances in the market than they did on school, on continuing education. So
they have got better chances in the market rather than in school. What does that mean?
So a child of a government school whom we taught, she had to leave school because her parents believed that she would be better off and as an earning member of the family working as a house help rather than continuing education.
Do you think that kind of mindset is still continuing? I thought that has been abandoned long time back. Maybe far and few कहीं पे कोई parents करते होंगे, but everybody now wants that their kids, including girls, should be educated.
So where education is something that is universal, the skill gap that exists in the gendered sense is an issue that needs to be addressed.
But क्यों gender की वजह से, why there is a gap in the skills?
So because of social patriarchal norms that do exist, that girls eventually will have to leave the family and go to another house.
But do you think at the level of class 7, 8, 6, the girls get demotivated because of these family patterns?
Yes, sir. Family patterns also an added domestic burden because of household responsibilities that do fall upon them rather than falling on the male child.
All right. Thank you very much, Bhavika.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bhavika, you are a member of the Indian Postal Service. You see, maximum central government servants come from, except the armed forces, come from the Indian Railways. Okay? What percentage comes from the P&T department? Incidentally, it is the second biggest after railways.
So I know the number. It is about 3 lakh people.
No, percentage-wise.
I am unaware of that, sir. I'll read up on it.
Used to be about 13%.
Yes,
so
sir.
3 lakhs may be coming like that, something like that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This Kisan Pehchan Patra,
Yes.
how does it help a farmer?
So it works as a short-term deposit, and at the end of 5 years, they get an increased return on their investment.
Short-term deposit?
Yes,
They
sir.
can take loans.
So it's a small saving scheme as far as my knowledge goes, but I will read up on it further.
On this basis, he can take loans without giving any collaterals up
Yes,
till
sir.
5 lakh rupees.
Yes, sir.
At the DR,
Yes,
that
sir.
is the less interest.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, obviously, it has other benefits also. This is the main one. Now, Kisan Samman Nidhi. Of course, Telangana has its own scheme. PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. How much money is distributed to the farmers
So when it was started,
annually? Pardon? How much?
So when it was started in 2019, it was 6,000 rupees. But now, as far as I know, it has gone up to 8,000 rupees, sir.
That may be latest, please check, not as per me.
Yes, sir.
What people tell me in the village, it's 6,000, but that is coming regular. Is there a central scheme or centrally sponsored scheme?
So I will read up on that. I'm
What is the
unaware of-
difference between central scheme and central sponsored scheme?
So a central sector scheme is 100% funded by the union government.
Central?
Central sector scheme, sir.
Central scheme is
Central
100%.
scheme, yes,
Central
sir.
sector scheme is
Yes.
partially by center and partially by the states.
States.
Now this generally out of the tax, like let me say GST, then you will understand. GST 50% goes to center, 50% goes to states, right? Of the 50% which comes to the center, what percentage of that, by virtue of the as of date, what percentage of that goes to the states again?
So as per the 15th Finance Commission, 41% goes to the states.
Yes, earlier how much it was?
So earlier it was higher at about 42%, but 1% was reduced after Jammu and Kashmir became a union territory, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Bhavika, what do you understand by the term Cobra effect in economics? Have you heard about this term?
I'm unaware of it, sir. I'll read
Very
up on
good.
it.
You are already a member of the Indian Postal Service. Can you list 2-3 significant achievements of Indian bureaucracy since independence?
So Indian bureaucrats have essentially been responsible for nation building as...
No, that's
Yes, sir.
very
Abroad, but-
1, 2, 3 pointed.
So the first being the public sector units, which has employed a steady...
It is due to the political vision of the country, not the exclusive domain of the Indian bureaucracy. I'm talking about the significant achievement of Indian bureaucracy, where the Indian bureaucracy has excelled itself. Shall I give you a clue?
Yes, please, sir.
Census.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now you go.
So it does conduct the largest census.
No,
in
census.
the world.
Census is one part. You
Yes.
agree with me or not?
Yes, sir.
Now you find out, you tell me other fields.
So the elections that
Wonderful,
were
it
conducted.
follows census.
Yes, sir.
Elections. Number
Yes,
3.
So can I trouble you for a clue again?
Do you think there is a need for reforms in Indian bureaucracy?
So there has been certain talk about reforms needed.
No,
in
you
the-
tell me whether there is a need for reforms in Indian bureaucracy. Is there a need? Because bureaucracy has been performing brilliantly for last so many years. Why do we need a reform?
So we need reform to the extent where state capacity is enhanced and perhaps training.
That again is very broad. You give me 1, 2, 3 reasons why we need reforms. If we need reforms. You are free to say we don't need reforms. We are working fine.
So state capacity in that sense where we are more citizen centric. So perhaps not viewing them as citizen consumers rather than us being benefactors for the common people. That would be the first thing that I would...
You again,
Yes,
when you
sir.
see the recording of this, my question is very simple. Do you think there is a need for reforms in the civil service? See, there has to be a reason if you are going for... What kind of reform comes
Yes, sir.
after that?
Yes,
But
sir.
is there a need for reforms?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Why?
So primarily because we are competing with the market in a lot of areas.
One very good reason.
For the
Good.
services that we provide. The second being that the nature of the Indian state has changed to a
Wonderful.
market-driven
2.
economy.
Now you are talking.
And
3.
that is all I can think of. at
See,
the moment,
reforms
sir.
in the Indians, let me come back to the Indian civil service only. Bureaucracy has a much broader term. Let me come to Indian civil service. You're already a member of the Indian civil service. Now, reforms in the Indian civil service can be either in the recruitment process or
Yes,
in
sir.
the training
Yes, sir.
or in the career planning.
Yes, sir.
Let's say you join as an Indian administrative service officer tomorrow. You have a career span of 30 years. How would you plan your career? My last question. And why?
So I would like to start off with field work to understand where the problems on the ground lie, which I think would give me the tools to properly make policy at the state level or the government level. And perhaps towards the end, I would like to impact national policy with the insights that I gain from my work on the field and in the policy making
You
department.
would like to go for any specialization?
So in my opinion, everything exists interconnectedly and not in silos. So any experience that is gained in one ministry can be applied across different areas.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bhavika, you're a sociology student.
Yes, ma'am.
right? Now tell me, there's a lot of fascination of people, especially from Haryana and Punjab, for the foreign lands, particularly Punjab,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
way. Now, in terms of sociological phenomena, could you tell me the reasons behind it?
Ma'am, the first reason is historical in nature, where Punjab was.
No, I'm asking particularly sociological terms.
Yes, ma'am.
Like I can give you one example. One is relative deprivation.
Yes, ma'am.
Since the Punjab people have already moved out earlier
ma'am.
as plantation laborers, so they have seen quite some time, and now when the relatives visit here, they narrate their stories, the relative deprivation. So one sociological phenomenon is relative deprivation. Can you tell me other two?
And the second would be their relation to authority. It comes from a place of not demanding accountability but being subservient to authority. And the second, because of the historical reasons that have existed in the past. And the second would be the lack of economic opportunities that do exist in Punjab.
No, but there's nothing sociological phenomena over here. I can tell you, I especially gave you example also.
Yes, ma'am.
Relative deprivation I told. Anything else? Any other sociological term which explains this?
I will have to read up on it.
Reference groups?
Yes, ma'am. The Indian diaspora in Canada and the US.
So,
Yes.
anticipatory socialization?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, let's say tomorrow you're posted as a DC of Chandigarh. What will be your 3 priorities?
Ma'am, the first would be to manage traffic as it does exist via public transportation. The second would be enhancing green capacity in terms of public transport and pushing for education in the green sector. And the third would be effective waste management as it exists in the city.
You mentioned about, associating with Hamari Kaksha earlier. And let's say tomorrow, if you as a DC, you have to specifically work towards improving the qualitative levels of education among the government's public school children. Now, what 3 things would you do in this regard other than awareness? Practical things.
Ma'am, the first would be to involve the parents in parent-teacher meetings because PTAs do lead to accountability in schools.
But what about if the parents are generally who are sending their children to the government schools, they are themselves laborers or migrants, so they will lose a one-day wage. That's a big thing for them.
Ma'am, but initially change starts that way too. And I do have friends whose parents were involved in government school PTAs, so perhaps that is one avenue that can be explored.
Okay.
And the second would be to introduce more co-curriculars, maybe sports, painting and other hobbies that children could pursue for holistic development. And the third would be vocational education, so parents never see education as something that is preventing them from developing real life skills.
Okay, have you heard about COP30?
Yes, ma'am.
It was concluded in Brazil.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what were the major takeaways from COP30?
Ma'am, the COP that recently concluded had a noted absence of major world polluters, the US, China and Russia. On that note, however, the Global South collaborated more comprehensively and the new quantitative goal was agreed upon.
What is TFFF?
Ma'am, I'll read up on it. I'm unaware of that.
Okay. My last question to you is that have you heard of this US new security framework?
Yes, ma'am.
What are the key components of it?
Ma'am, it places a lower strategic role for India and it prioritizes Europe as far as my knowledge goes, but I will have to read up on it more comprehensively.
Okay, thank you. So,
Thank you, ma'am.
So thank you very much, Bhavika.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How much did you get last time?
So 195.